Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop and the very first SNS of 2019. It's great to have you back, and it's good to be back. Took a couple weeks off there during the holidays, and I had some time off and went on vacation and had a good time. Abby and I went on another cruise and went down to the Western Caribbean, down to Mexico, and just had a fabulous time. It was good to have that week off, and we had a good holiday, spending some time with all of our families there. So I had a few videos to share with you of the projects that was going on during that time, and we are now back to our normal weekly regimen of SNS, and hopefully some other good stuff to come at you too. So 2019 is going to be hopefully a very good year for me. I've got a lot planned and a lot going on. We got some new developments coming pretty soon, and I'll fill you in on those as they happen. Okay. But so as far as our first episode of the year, we're going to get busy on the K&T mill, the Kearney and Trecker, and I've got the electric motor back from the motor shop there. So I've got some footage of getting that thing installed and getting everything hooked up, and we might even see a test cut if you hang around long enough. Okay, so that's going to be the footage for this episode. And in the spirit of the Kearney and Trecker work that we're about to get to, I have one very cool gift that a viewer of mine named Dennis sent me. And he worked at Kearney and Trecker for 28 years before they closed. And he had this really cool belt buckle that he sent to me and give to me. Very, very cool. Never seen one before. Didn't even know that they made Kearney and Trecker belt buckles. So Dennis, thank you very much for that. Very cool gift. He said that he saw me wearing one of my Kearney and Trecker shirts and thought that this would be a fitting gift to match that, and said that he knows my machine very well, and if I ever have any questions on it, to contact him, and he sent me his email there. So thank you very much. I also wanted to give a real quick mention. I've got a lot of really nice viewer gifts from a lot of viewers, over the past couple months or so, and I'm trying to come up with an interesting way that I can share some of those unique gifts that's been coming in without tying up a lot of the SNS time. I want to show more machining and projects. So we may occasionally do a one-off video here and there just on some viewer mail, just to kind of show what everybody's been sending in, tools and gifts, handmade items, all things like that. So that's something I'm going to be working on into the new year, is just another video just on the viewer mail. So anyway, I got a lot of things planned. We got a lot of projects. I got collaborations. We got things I want to do around here in the shop. So hopefully got lots of interesting content that I'm going to be bringing you with 2019. So let's get over there to the K&T and get started on it. Welcome back, everybody. So we've got our motor back from the electric motor shop. This is the K&T motor shaft that I made. We did the end bells, and they put it back together and they tested it, and it tested good. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting it back in the mill there. This is the pulley that goes on the end of it. We've also got the key, and I had to do a little bit of dressing on this key right there, but we have a good fit on this key. I can push it down in there, and you have a little resistance holding it in place. And the pulley also has, from what I have mic'd out, being like a metal to metal fit. Once it starts on there, it goes to about right there. So I should be able to bump it on there. It should have a really good fit on that pulley there. So I hope to get this in today and get it running again. I just got the peckerhead rewired, and I verified with the wiring from David at the motor shop to verify that it was running on that it's hooked up as low voltage for the motor. So that should be good there. Just go ahead and slide it up in here, and I'll get the bolts. You got 4 bolts, and it just mounts directly down to that plate there. All right, I got her wired in. Let's give it a test. Sounds pretty good. Alright, I think everything's going well so far. I'm going to go ahead and use some of this Blue Moly Never Seas. We're going to put a light coating on the shaft, and then we'll start bumping the pulley on. Really don't take much. Put a little on there and slick it out. That's another reason why I like these gloves. I can take that and just rip that off and put another one on. Alright, we've got the pulley bumped on there. I think originally how this was designed, it had one of those tapered keys on it with a bolt maybe that went through it that retained it and wedged it into the keyway. But it's just the step key that's in there now, so whoever was into it last made a step key for it. But it's got a you know, a slight bump fit on there, and it's tight. And I made this little piece right here, a retainer and a bolt, just as insurance. But that key is bumped in there tight. So we'll go ahead and bump it on again here. You see we're running. Alright, so I think we've got some other problems that I'm going to have to resolve though, and I'll move the camera to show you, but I don't believe that this pulley here is in line with the upper pulley for the gearbox there. Alright, so taking a straight edge, and we'll put it up here on the upper pulley. Alright, that's up against the face of the upper pulley. Look how much further out the motor pulley is from that. I mean, that's a that's a good amount of distance off center. So I think I know why the other belt was really worn and frayed on the inside, because it was rubbing on this fan right here. So, you know, it's just like the mystery continues with this mill. I'm mystified over all the little stupid problems that I have found on this machine since the day I bought it. I really am. You know, why somebody fixed this the way they did and then installed the motor and left the pulley sticking out the way it did. You know, I never thought to check this right here whenever it was apart. I just assumed that it was in line, but apparently it is not. So I think what I'm going to have to do is pull the motor back out of this mill again and re-drill the base plate down here so that it'll move the motor in like it should be. So I'm just taking a quick measurement. We're 1 inch away. That is exactly 1 inch off center. Amazing. The width of it is 2 3/8. And I measured that one, it's the same thing, 2 3/8. So I think what I'm going to have to do, disconnect it again. I'll unbolt it, disconnect the wires, which now that I've done it, it's pretty simple. And I'll pull the motor back out of there, and I'll take that base plate, and we'll just go to the mill and we'll offset the foot pattern that direction exactly 1 inch, or I'll measure this again just to be sure and verify that we're going to be lined up here once I re-drill the holes. So you know, good news for you guys that you get to see some more work, but it's very frustrating for me that this is I don't know what's happened to this mill. Somebody's come in here and just clobbered this thing up. I'm just going back and verifying my measurement. I was actually off a 1/4 inch, so we're at 3/4 of an inch overhang. It's got the rule pressed up against the face of this pulley here, and using my hook scale to grab the edge, and we're 3/4 of an inch. So we'll move our footprint on the plate that way, 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to try to get this plate out of here. This is going to be a little tricky just because it's going to be heavy and I got to pick it up over these studs. I've got it loose though. Let's see. enough reach to do it down there. I'm gonna have to try to stand up and do it, I guess. Oh, there we go. While it's out of there, I'm going to use this neck force from CRC to break up some of this oil and grease down here and clean that base out real good. I'm going to use the original bolt holes here to line up on. Based off these other holes that were drilled and tapped, I'm not sure if that's the original motor or not. It seems to me like that's a different motor that was put in that mill, but I don't know. We got a straight edge right here that we'll use to indicate and get it aligned. Alright, we're aligned. I've got the first hole centered up on the spindle right there, so we're just going to do our offset 3/4 of an inch, and then our hole pattern, so our distance, this one was 7 inches, and then we'll go across to 8.5 inches to the other side, to this other hole pattern. So all we got to do is just go 3/4. I've got the readout zeroed. Three-quarters, so that's our first hole, and then we'll just move it 7 inches down. We'll spot it using our short drill there. And these drills, by the way, not only are they shorter, they've got a nice split point grind to them, so they are a good self-centering drill if you've got a good flat, even work surface right there. Alright, we're going to use a 3/8/16 gun tap. Just tap it all the way through. Make sure the knee's up high enough. 8.5, and I verified it on the bottom of the motor. I have just enough room to get it over here with about 3/8 left on the end there before it runs into the mill. I usually like to scale out just to verify it so it looks good. Since I got it out, I might as well check the motor and just verify that my hole pattern is good. All right, we got 2 in. Let's try the other side. They look like they're going to line up. All right. All right, that'll work then. So I hope that's going to fix our problem there and get this pulley aligned like it's supposed to be. All right, we got you down here in the bottom of the mill again. I got it cleaned out, did some vacuuming, and we're going to put some pig mat in here. It'll be underneath the plate to help absorb any oil that gets down in here later, just because this thing does leak a little bit. So you can see where the plate sits on. You got these guys right here. These adjusting, they're nuts, but they're turned with a shoulder on there, so the plate sits down on these guys right here. And I've got them. These back here I had never really moved, but they were right at 2.5 inches. So we've got them even, and I got this one at 2.5 as well. So I'll just adjust them this time as we need to raise and lower the motor. So we got some of these gray pig mats. I want to put a couple down in here. That'll just be nice to help absorb any oil that starts getting down in here, and then you can just pull it out from underneath the plate there as you need. So that'll work right there. And a couple more strips right here that I'd already cut up that I use on the shaper. I think I'm going to put them right here just a little bit more. All right, so we need to come up Alright, that's looking pretty good that way. A little bit low on this one. Alright, that's looking pretty level that way. We'll just start there and get the motor in here, get it mounted. We'll start with these back two holes here. Let's see if I can line it up. Let's get a couple of these in and then do a check with the straight edge over there and see if our pulleys are lined up. So I've got about a 1/16 off on the face of this pulley right there, being the center, and I think that's going to be okay. I'm not going to worry myself over that little bit there. We're going to leave it just where it's at and get it mounted in right there. It was at least a 3/4 of an inch off this way, so that belt was constantly rubbing against this fan right here. So I think we're going to be good to go now. There's our new serpentine belt from Speed Control. I'm going to see, I don't know how tight it is yet. I haven't tried it. We're about to now. I'm hoping I can just walk it on there, kind of like we got the old one off. Oh yeah. I think we'll just build it. Plate isn't mounted yet down there. There it is. There we go. All right. Now we can start lowering the motor down and get our tension on the belt here. Be a little tricky, but I think we can do it. So I'm going to try to go equal turns if I can. Let's see, so we want to go down. So. Halfway through getting the belt on there, I realized that I still haven't hooked the wires up yet, which I need to do with it pulled out here. So let me do this again. Pull this out, hook the wires up, then I'll bring it back where we were. Alright, we got everything wired in, and I think I've got it set. I spent a little time trying to get this, keeping it level. Now we're a little bit down on this side right there, just because you gotta pull it down to put enough tension on the belt right there. So I've been playing with this, trying to make sure that it's not too tight, and I feel like that right there is going to be pretty good. I had it tighter than that. And so you got to take this nut off, these off, and then pull this plate back up some. It just sandwiches it together. So I think I've got it pretty good right where it needs to be. It seems like it's tracking good. So I'm ready to plug it in and turn it on. I'm going to give it a bump. See, your start switch is back here, and your kill switch is on the front. So I'm having to do both hands out like this just in case. So let's bump it. And try not to block it too much. Alright. I'm killing it with my right hand up here on the top. Let's go ahead and fire it off. Well, it's working. It's nice and quiet too. Let's make sure I got my rotation correct. Spindle. So we got it in right hand. Look at that, we got it. Very cool. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and finish buttoning it up with the side covers and get them back on here. And I'm going to come back because I had mentioned before, this cover plate right here where the spool is has got a slow leak, and that's where I believe all the oil problem is coming from. It's leaking out the top, and then it kind of drips over on the side after a while. So I want to pull this off and see what's wrong, probably make a new gasket for it and put it back on there. So we're going to come back and do that. And then also, I'm going to get with David. He's the one that helped me with the motor, and we're going to do the step-up transformer for the motor in the knee, the feed motor. So we still got to tackle that, and hopefully that's going to happen real soon. So we'll be bringing you back whenever we get some more work done on the mill. But I hope to get it done very soon because I actually want to put the mill to use. So I am actively working on this now, trying to get it back in operation. Okay? I know a bunch of y'all probably want to see a cut on this thing since I got the motor in there, so I'm not going to leave you hanging. Let's go ahead and make a cut. That's a 2-inch diameter roughing in mill, and we've got it set from the top of this area here about 1 inch deep, and it's just about the full width of the cutter. All right, let's go ahead and try it. We're running 2 inches a minute. I'm going to kick it up to 2.5. That's 3.5 inches a minute. Not too bad. How about it? There's our first test cut with the rebuilt motor. And we did 3.5 inches a minute right there on about the second half of it, and it handled it pretty good.